the biggest freedom is freedom of choice, being able to do whatever you want.
For me was when I started making enough money where I was like, I get to pick and choose, and I have enough money to like what adventures I go on and how I live my life. I get to wake up this week, pick where I want to go surfing, fishing, diving, whatever I want to do that week, and just go do it.
A lawyer who took a massive risk, and it's safe to say that spending all those nights living in a caravan with no money paid off. Today's guest has one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in the world, a story like no other, a deep thinker, a wild creator, and a man who chose chasing his dreams over playing it safe. Our guest today is Wade Papenfus. You were kind of in this hustle state where there was a turning point for you. We need to make change. We needed to go do this.
At the time, I actually broke up with my girlfriend. I just finished my law degree and I was getting like no views. And at the time, I literally had $0. And that pain that I felt, I literally had nothing in this world except for this dream of me just being like a YouTuber and just going all in on this. That was when I really became vulnerable in front of a camera and people loved it. That's 7 months of me being homeless, grinding, obsessing. All that content just went through the roof.
What I'm sensing here though is your pain's self-inflicted.
I tell my parents this story and my mum almost cries when I tell her, but I knew that that pain that I was going through was craziest motivation for me to like get after it. Some people are gonna say, well, I keep experiencing pain, but it doesn't change. And I'll say it's like this, it's like,
hello guys, it is Chris here and welcome to episode 68 of the Pocket Podcast. Today's guest, as you just heard, is Wade Papenfus. We're going to keep this intro really short and sweet, but just before this show, I just want to tell you a couple of things. The first thing is most of you, surprisingly, that are watching this are actually not subscribed or following along on Spotify or YouTube. So if you are not already, it would mean the world if you can hit that subscribe button or follow us on the audio platforms just to show your appreciation. And the final thing is to leave a 5-star review on Spotify because it really helps the show grow and it helps us keep getting awesome guests on this show. What I've decided to do for this episode for you guys is I'm actually going to play 0 interruptions, 0 sponsored ad reads on this show for you. So we got a whole hour and 45 of power and I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. I absolutely love this conversation and Wade is just a legend and it's so cool to see someone like this chasing his dreams. So you guys will get a lot of value from this and be sure to, as I said, leave us a 5-star review because it truly helps the show grow more than you know. So thank you so much and you guys enjoy this episode.
I just don't vibe with surface level stuff, dude. It's just not my scene.
Yeah. I can't stand it.
It's a waste of time for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I don't care, like in the nicest way possible. I don't really care what your favorite color is. Like I'd rather just know like how your childhood was and like what shaped you to be who you are today. Like I want to understand you.
Do you think it scares girls off?
I think it depends on the girl.
Yeah.
I think it depends. Like some girls are like, whoa, this guy's like intense, but that's kind of who I am. And I'm kind of okay with that. I think but I don't have enough data to know like it's not like I go on a date every week to be like, oh yeah, it's 80% of the girls off. Or like,
dude,
you know.
I wonder because I want to do the same. I don't want to really be like, oh, how's your week? Like all this stuff. And so for me, I would want to do something similar. But like, imagine going on your first date. Well, not imagine, this is what happened. Imagine going on your first date and be like, so like, what springs you out of bed in the morning? and just start like asking these sorts of questions. And I think there's a level of depth that like I forgot who says it, but like there's like this challenge where people say, let's see how quickly you can go deep with someone. And like apparently most people can go deep. No, most people take forever, but like the greats can go deep after like 2 questions.
Bro, I go deep so quick. And even what I find also is like with YouTube, dude, it's a lot about human psychology, like so much human psychology.
What do you mean?
For example, something I say will make someone feel a certain way or think a certain way, which may keep them on the video or leave the video or like, you know, it's all about, okay, how do we want them to feel in this exact moment? Even when I work with my editors and the sound design, like post, we just scrub through the video and we're like, what is the emotion that we want them to feel right now? Do we want them to feel like excited? Do we want them to feel like sadness? Do we want them to feel like doom or like gloom or like, it's new morning. So like uprise, you know what I mean? And so we're really thinking about emotions. But the thing about that is when you like with the human psychology of it all, relating back to the girls now, is like when you can understand like someone's, like the way someone is or like their childhood, then you can understand why they think a certain way and their human psychology. Like for example, I was just a girl that I know, what was it? She's like an only child. So like she lived on a farm. So then her animals became her friend. So now she, like when her parents used to kill the animals, she hated it. So now she like doesn't like eating meat because the animals were a friend. So I'm like thinking like, okay, I wonder if you had a sibling and your sibling was your friend and the animals weren't your friend, whether you'd have a different belief on killing animals.
It's actually a very valid point.
It's a valid point. Yeah. It's just like, that's what I mean. The way we grow up, like affects the way we think.
This is an interesting insight, and I feel like if someone's brain to work like that, it shows the depth. Because I think what happens is you see someone, they go, okay, I'm vegan. People just don't question it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you've got to have these levels of whys. Okay, why? And then like getting to a next level, why?
Yep.
I reckon the quickest way to get deep with someone is just to ask them why they answer something in a certain way. So I'm sure how that came about was, I don't like eating meat. And you would have been like, okay, well, why?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I just don't like the way animals and things. Okay, well, why?
Yeah.
And then next minute she's talking about how her family used to kill the animals. She had no other friends. Animals were her friends, and that's why she doesn't like eating meat.
Yeah.
But you have to be curious enough and have the depth to be able to even get to that point in the first place.
For sure, dude. And I think some people, when you ask them the why, it depends. Like some people think that you're like testing them in a way. And then other people look at it from like a place of love. Like, oh, this person really cares about me and they want to like understand more about me. So I think it also comes down to that person, like, and like how you frame the, like why do you feel a certain way? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
like it's also how you kind of frame it.
I guess if they have a level of depth themselves, they won't find it as confronting.
Exactly.
However, if they don't and you're pressing them in the context of, say, you're on a date, they might be like, what's this? This guy's like being a bit pushy and a bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it's just they don't understand the depth in which you want to go to. And maybe they haven't been there before. So it's quite an uncomfortable position for them to be in.
For sure.
Where do you think you learn how to get deep? Do you think it comes from solitude and spending a lot of time alone? Do you think it comes through experience? Where do you think it sparks from? Or do you think it's just innate in us?
That's actually a real good question. I think, for example, for me, it's a few things. So number one, like a real blunt answer is like, I just don't want to waste time. Like I've like we've all been out, like we all go out on the weekends and we all have like these conversations and it's just time wasting. It's like, I only have so much limited time in the day. And also like a lot of people want to be your friends or want to hang out with you. I'm like, well, like what makes you like, what makes you beautiful in your own unique way? I want to find out why you're beautiful. I don't want to just hang out with you and talk about like what you did on the weekend. Like obviously we'll have that at the beginning or, like intro and stuff, but I want to understand that. And I think for me, it comes from a point of like, I just want to understand people and understand why they're beautiful. I think like the beauty is in the depth. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not in like, what they did on the weekend or even the way they look, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's kind of it. Like,
but for you to kind of understand that, it means you have to have valued your time for you to go, okay, this is wasting my time, because you obviously value your time a lot.
Yeah.
So this is wasting my time. There has to have been a time for you to realize that, because like for me, I go back and when I'm looking at these, like in the reference you're using of like a mindless conversation that's just surface level, that doesn't really have much depth on the weekend. Maybe there's drinks involved and you're kind of having this like surface level chat. For me, I had so many of those and realized I wasn't really getting any closer to where I wanted to be. And then when I cut them out, I really started to understand the value of my time and I respected it a bit more. Would have that been the same for you?
100%. The thing about life also is like a lot of people don't look at their life like I can pick and choose who I want to be around and talk to. People just think like, oh, I just have to go this way because that's where my friends go. Or I have to go hang out with these people because they're friends with my friends. It's like, And in a weird way, and like a very selfish way, I don't have to do that. And I don't care if I don't do it. And like at the end of the day, I'm going to be friendly to everyone. It's not like I'm not friendly, but I'm also going to pick and choose exactly who I hang out with, because each person I look at them from like what is beautiful and unique about this person. And then I'll try and learn that beautiful and unique thing from that person. So if you think about it, it's like that's their superpower, and you can learn things from that superpower. Like, say, for example, someone's insanely good at like following their dreams and they've gone down a crazy path. I'll be like, bro, like, what was your ticker? Like, what made you tick when you were in these times of doubt? You know what I mean? So you can understand their processing, and usually you can learn from that. I just love learning. And I find like I'm not learning if I'm with people that just have a very, you know, basic level of thinking of just like, oh, like, you know, like, let's talk about like girls, or let's talk about partying, or let's talk about that. I'm like, no, like I'd rather talk about something that I can like learn from and stuff. Like even like my team and like filmer and stuff like that, when they know like when I'm having like a rough, not a rough day, but like my output's like kind of slowing down, I'll be like, I need some time like alone. What I'll do is I'll just go put on a podcast. This is what I do for fun. I'll just put on a podcast, have a coffee. If I have my dog, I'll have my dog with me, and I'll just go sit and learn. Like I just love that. That's my favorite thing to do.
I think it's interesting about how people make their decisions. So like when you're talking about even the decision on what they're talking about, the decision on what they're doing throughout their days, the actions they're making, the goals they set, we all have these like imaginary ceilings in our life that are determining what we do in our life. And imagine this for a concept. Most people live their life and they make their choices on the premise of the information that they know rather than on the premise of what they actually want. So for an example, they might have this belief in their mind that they don't have much money and that that money's a big problem in their life. So they will then, that's a belief that they have about themselves. Whenever they are making a decision that has money involved in it, that's at the back of their mind. So they're making the decision on the premise that they don't have very much money. But imagine a world where you could make decisions on the premise of the actual decision in itself. So like you make decisions based on what you truly want to do. So everything that you're doing throughout your life, you're just choosing it because you truly want to do it, not just because of these constraints that you've made in your mind. I feel like there's a level of freedom. We talk about like how we all want to chase freedom. I feel like the biggest freedom is freedom of choice, being able to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Well, that's like, I think everyone's got different tickers for money, but for me, even making money and like being able to do what I want, like that's the best thing ever. Like for me, everyone's like, bro, what did it feel like when you hit 1 million subs on YouTube? I'm like, bro, that didn't even kick. The moment I realized for me was when I started making enough money where I was like, I get to pick and choose and I have enough money to like what adventures I go on and how I live my life. Like for me, that was everything. And I was like, holy crap. Like I get to wake up this week, pick where I want to go surfing, fishing, diving, whatever I want to do that week and just go do it. And I get to do it and make money and do that. Like that for me was like the ultimate freedom.
Have you always been active into surfing, fishing and all of the water activities that you do?
Yeah. So pretty much my parents separated when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. And my dad moved down to like opposite, like on Burleigh Beach. This was like before Burleigh was like, you know, pumping party Burleigh. Like it was pretty quiet back then and stuff like that. Pretty sleepy town. We were teenagers. We would walk up and like look for trouble and stuff. But I just grew up in the ocean, bro. Like ocean is my home. Like I feel like so at ease and like, you know, it's like God-given, like that I just like, I could like live in the ocean, like dive, surfing, fishing, diving, all like, that's just what we did every single day. And I still do it like when I'm not filming for fun. Like we would just live in the ocean. Like for me, it's like my playground, bro. It's like, you know, for me, it's the best playground in the world. I don't know. Like that's just my life.
Yeah. I think when we look at our life, like when we go back to the kid version of ourselves, there was no dramas, no worries. And it's kind of a freeing thought to think about the problems that we have as a little kid. And imagine being able to reinvent that as an adult and go back and kind of live in that same frame of mind where, you have responsibilities, but you've still got this like freeing nature where you're just doing whatever you want.
I still have it, bro.
Exactly.
I still have it. Like like I embrace this thing like the eternal grom. That's like me, bro. The eternal grom. That's how I want to live. Like I want people to look at me and be like, this guy's a kid, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because like you think about a kid, right? You can give them like a can and they'll pretend it's like a car and they'll push it on the ground. And they're so creative, bro. But like life gets serious, dude. And we're like, no, that's a can. That's not a car. Like you can't turn that can into a car, and it destroys your creativity because you have to live a certain way. It's like, why do you have to live that way? Why do you have to like lose that creativity? Why can't you just be an eternal grom forever? Get excited over 1 foot swell. Get excited over the fact that you and your mates have the day off and it's hook and wind, but you like are taking the piss out of each other because like, you know, you're trying to carry your surfboards down to the beach and you're getting blown around everywhere. Like you're just laughing. Like that for me is like eternal happiness, bro. The eternal grom. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah. Everyone gets old and they want their youth back. But why do you need to get old?
Exactly. And why when you get old does life have to become stiff and rigid?
Yes. So I had Hunter McIntyre on the show, and he's like do you know this Hyrox, the sport that's like booming at the moment? Everyone's doing the hybrid training. Yeah. He's the world champ for Hyrox, 3-time world champ.
Wow.
Anyway, he lives over in Malibu up in the mountains. And
okay. Yeah.
In America.
Palisades or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He lives like up in the mountains in Malibu, and sickest spot. But he's like, I'm trying to be forever young, dude. He's like, I don't want to get old. He was saying to me, because he was like he's like, don't quit your football. Like, don't quit your sports. He was like, what happened was when COVID hit, everyone thought that they needed to settle down and start like, building a family and stuff. And he's like, all my friends, they just lost it. They just stopped playing sport. They stopped doing all the things that they did when they were younger.
Yeah.
And next minute, when you stop doing things that you did as a kid, you become less of a kid. And then when you become less of a kid, then you progress to an adult. And then when you're an adult, then you progress to like an older adult. And then you have kids, and then you just keep going down this line.
Yeah.
And he's here going like, man, I'm trying to be forever young. Like I want to be that 50-year-old that acts like he's 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, because when we're 50, we look at the 20-year-olds and we go, oh, like you've got time, you got youth, you got age, you got this spark in you. It's like, well, why can't you have it a bit later? And I think when you look at people, the sooner you get older, the sooner you will get older, in a sense.
It's the exact same thing, dude. Like, yeah, you move less, your body becomes stiff and rigid. Yes. When you move more, you become more free and fluent, and like you can just do all that. Obviously, like I think the one thing people are going to say is like, well, like, you know, you have more responsibility when you're older, of course. But I'm saying like when you have those free moments, let yourself be free. You know, let yourself just be young. Like it doesn't always have to be just like, you know, everything serious. You know what I mean? I think it's also a skill though, like trying to, like a lot of people struggle to disconnect from that serious life and then have like an unserious kind of like hobby or whatever it is.
But perhaps it's because they believe it's a serious life.
Yeah.
Because like you said this thing just then, you're like, yeah, we have more responsibilities. But I would argue that a lot of the responsibilities that we have are fucking made up responsibilities in our head, that actually like there's serious things, but so many things that we make out to be so major problems and massive responsibilities, I would say that they're not actually as deep as we make it out. Like, yeah, we have family, that's a responsibility. If we have kids, that's a responsibility. You know, there's a mortgage, that's a responsibility. Like there's all those sorts of things. But I feel like at the end of the day, the like if your life's getting too consumed with responsibilities and you have no sense of being able to do what you want when you want, I feel like there's a bit of a flaw in that model. I feel like you need to have some level of freedom to do what you truly want to do in life for you to have true fulfillment, because you're just going to get swept up.
And it comes back down to exactly what we just spoke about before, which has done a full loop of the people you surround yourself with. So I'll give you an example. So when I film videos, right, I go out with boat captains all the time. They're like skippering us, take us to certain spots. If I'm with people that are like kids, we're all on the boat, like we catch a good fish, we're frothing, we're squealing like little girls, we're like going crazy, like, yeah, boys, we've done it. That one's going to be sick for the fire later on. Like, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. But if we have a boat captain that's like super serious, we will be those young kids, like, because we've developed that. But then we're looking over at this guy like, bro, like, is he all right? Like, what is he thinking about us? You know what I mean? He's not with us. Like, you know what I mean? He's on a different level. So it's like, pick and choose the eternal groms or like all the people that are going to stay young with you, bro. And are going to be like that kind of crew. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be with the people that are like stiff and rigid and like are so serious. Like, life's not supposed to be serious.
Do you think that's why the lawyer thing didn't work very well for you? Because I'm sensing this, like, people are going to be listening to you that don't know that you're a lawyer. But the thing is like, when we talk about being serious, like law, it doesn't get much more serious than that. Mm-hmm. And like, talking about being an eternal grom and being a lawyer is two completely different things.
That's wild.
What made you go down the path of becoming a lawyer? When you're like vibe and your whole premise of life is to have life and excitement and have that joyfulness about you?
Well, I don't think I'll do a full loop. So I think when I was a bit lost when I finished school and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went over to Canada and I worked in the snow there for a year. And I was a bit lost, like, what do I want to do? And I had like a realization when I was over there, like, I want to be someone. Like, I want to be like a high profile individual. And I think the world makes out like, if you want to do something, you have to be serious. You know what I mean? You have to be serious with it. So I came back and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to study business. So I started studying business at Bond Uni. And then I was doing like really good at business. And I was like, this is kind of like a bit too easy. And I didn't really think about like, oh, is this going to be a job or is this going to be a future? I was kind of just more so like, oh, this is easy. Like, I wanted more of a challenge type thing. And then I just started studying law. And I was like, well, at least law, like, it's hard. It's harder. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not like a G at law. Like, and I never really was like crazy smart. I'm just someone that like is obsessive. Like, if I want to do something, I'll just obsess over it and I'll understand and learn it and I'll just somehow like do it. You know what I mean? I'll just apply myself. And it was just a challenge. And I was like, at least if I do law, I'll have like a little bit of a monopoly on the market. But even working with like you're working with different people, like a lot of like I was always like kind of a lot of the bubbly one kind of in the class. I kind of stood out a little bit in like that type of way. But the thing was, each one of us have our own strengths, which is beautiful about this world, right? So I was very like bubbly and I I had an ability to speak quite well, which is probably why I do like YouTube and stuff now, and I could speak really well. So when it came to like writing contracts, I was about as useful as a concrete parachute. Like, I was literally I was pretty terrible, honestly. Like, I just wasn't that guy that could like pick up like the, you know, the dots and the T's and all that type of stuff. I would kind of just be like, you know, but if you gave me like a piece of paper and you're like, this is the issue, this is the point you need to get across and you need to like, you know, convince someone, but I could talk, like, you know, I would put on my suit and like I could talk and I could just free flow with it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of was my strength with it. But I think like even in the law space, like a lot of people say like, there's a lot of people that pretend to be serious at the office, but when they're not at office, they're the furthest thing from serious. You know what I mean? So I think all of us have that kid in us, but it's just like, no, this is a serious environment. You need to like be serious here a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a facade in the hopes to fit in a sense.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's changing a bit now. Like, I got a lot of my mates that are like lawyers, obviously, because I like at school, and a lot of them are just like the greatest guys ever. And like, they won't like say that they won't wear suits every day now, like, and stuff like that. And they'll have more like just more casual kind of things, because no one wants to really like. Everyone wants like a respectful environment, but they don't want to like feel like it's like a board meeting all the time. You know what I mean? Like, they want to just have a nice conversation. Like, yeah, like, what are you here for? Like, you know, nice conversation and stuff. So I think like when you can understand someone and really seek to understand them, you can just have a nice conversation so much better than like having this structured, formal structure. But everyone's different in the way they do it. You know what I mean? The only reason like law is very strict is because there is laws to follow and there's a way to do it. So a lot of people think, oh, if you're not structured, then you're just going to be a tornado. But it's like, no, you can still follow those follow those rules, but there's also creativity between those rules.
Yeah. I think I understand the law, and I also, what I also understand is how you dress, how you present yourself. Reality is you're getting judged everywhere you go. Like, people are judging you, and they're creating an idea about you based on the information they know about you.
Yeah.
So I guess when someone is trying to have a lawyer involved to solve something for them,
Exactly.
they want to have confidence that the person that they're doing, they're not best friends with this guy. If your best friend was a lawyer and you'd seen him 100 times in the past 6 months, and you had a problem and he rocked up telling you he could solve the problem in board shorts after the ocean, you'd probably have some confidence that he could solve it because you know him. However, if you're coming to a new lawyer and you've not met them very much, and they rock up in board shorts and they're like, yeah, mate, I'll fix your problems.
Yeah, exactly.
You might go, okay, well, I actually don't know. Whereas if you saw him come up a bit more presented, you had other people say, yeah, he's very professional. He knows what he's doing. He's done X, Y, and Z. He's held his own and he's got all these results. You'd have a lot more confidence. And I think it's the same with impressions about yourself out and about. What I will say though is, I think there's so much value in doing whatever is authentic for you and not trying to put on a facade in the hopes of impressing someone, because I don't think there's any longevity with that. Because if you're one thing and everyone else knows you as something else, you then feel obliged to uphold something that isn't you. And I just don't think there's any longevity in that. Of course, hence why I don't rock up and wear a suit. I'm wearing gym gear on this podcast. And whereas my best friend, for example, Sam, he wears suits with every one of his pods. Yeah. And it's a business thing. He's always out and about. He's always doing business meetings. He's a part of Forbes, and this is where he feels he's most confident in. So he'll wear that. And it's like, that's fine. He's doing the thing that's authentic for him. I'm doing the thing that's authentic for me. And I think there's a longevity in that. But you kind of, where the slippery slope comes is when you're trying to be someone that you're not.
100%, dude. We just spoke about this a little bit this morning, but 100%. I think it comes in every form of life, dude. Like, I'm just thinking about it from like an individualistic point of view, like making friends, from like a creator point of view, like living in the spotlight or like living around people. But it's like when you embrace your full version of yourself, and someone calls you out on it, you're like, this is who I am. If you like me, that's cool. If you don't like me, that's also cool. But this is who I am. I know I'm loud, bro. Like, I know I love the ocean and I know that I'm enthusiastic. That's who I am. That's who God made me to be, and I'm going to embrace that. But if I'm trying to be this quiet, timid guy and someone's like, bro, why are you so quiet? You need to talk out louder. Like, you talk loud in public, but you're so quiet on camera. Or like around the friends, that I'm like, dude, they're seeing through me. Like, I'm trying to be someone I'm not. I'm trying to be the sleek, like mysterious guy. And then you start doubting yourself. Like, why am I acting this way? Like, they're calling me out. And then you just like start becoming like this, like, oh, like, you know, like you can't embrace who you fully truly are. And I think God made us with different gifts in this world. And when you can embrace those gifts and bring them to light and you're like, this is who I am. This is what I love. This is how God made me. People see that authenticity and they're like, he's legit.
Yep. But then people see that, but more importantly, you see that. So when you look in the mirror, you're actually proud of who looks back because you're showing up the way that you are here to be, right? You're not trying to prove anything else. I think when you try and be someone that you're not, your self-esteem gets shot right in the foot and it becomes non-existent. And then when you don't have any self-esteem or you have low self-esteem, no confidence in yourself, then you show up that way. And from an energy standpoint, people can see it. People can like sense when something's a bit fishy or something's not really being authentic, or it's not kind of going the way that you kind of would. It's not going the way it should be going because you're trying to be someone that you're not.
Course,
and do you think that you can form a true understanding on who you are by spending so much time in solitude and alone.
Oh, yeah.
You've spent a lot of time alone in your life. What do you think that's done for you?
Spending time alone has got to be one of the best things, I personally think.
Why so?
Because when you spend time alone, it allows you to look within and it helps you to understand who you truly are. I think a lot of people, I love this concept, but I think a lot of people don't know themselves as well as what they actually think they do. And when I say that, I ask people like, well, what's your dreams, or what do you want to do, or, whatever. And they're like, well, I don't know. And then I just say like, well, what makes you unique? How are you different to everyone else? And a lot of people don't know like what makes them unique. You know what I mean? And it's like, when you spend time alone, you can really dive into like, how did God make me? Why do I believe a certain thing? Why do I believe, this equals that? You know what I mean? And you can really start to question that type of stuff. The other thing is you feel very insignificant when you're alone on like an island by yourself. So you realize that nothing in this world really matters. Doesn't matter how many like followers, money, whatever you have in like at any moment in time, you can just die and you'll be gone. So you kind of just have this concept of like, who cares? I'm just going to send it anyway, which is like the best mentality. Like I said, I'm not really in a crazy way that scared of death, because at the end of the day, like I believe in eternal life and that type of stuff. But I think also like understanding, you think about like a race car driver. What do they do before they run the race? They understand the mechanics of their car. They know if they change a gear, okay, this is going to go at this speed. I need to make sure I get it to this revs before I shift gear. They walk the truck. They know it. They walk around a corner. They're like, all right, I've got to hit it at this angle and then come off it at that angle. They understand the biomechanics so that when they know they're about to do something, they can just operate at that like peak level. When you can understand yourself and you're like, oh, like, yeah, this is me. I know this. Like I'm a G at this. I can really step up like in this moment, then you can understand how to win life. Like you play the game of life with your strengths. If you don't know what your strengths are, how do you play the game of life?
So understanding who you are is one thing, but with the solitude piece, why does the solitude lead you to understanding yourself more? Is it because you've got less distractions, or is it, what's the main reason why being alone will help you understand that?
Okay, so number one, less distractions. So it allows you to look within. So you got zero people telling you like, oh, do you want to come here in the morning? Like think about how much of your day you consumed about like, oh, I'm meeting this person this morning. You think about what you're going to do. Or like someone saying like, you're good at this, bro, or you're good at that, or you have zero distractions. It's like, I don't know if you like, when you do an activity, say it's like a sauna or ice bath or surfing, whatever it is, you have certain activities where you're kind of forced to do nothing. And when you're forced to do nothing, you kind of just start dreaming and thinking. And when you have that, you can really just think about like…
Your mind wanders.
Yeah, your mind wanders. And then you just like start thinking like, oh, okay, like I'm out here alone. Like what actually matters, all this type of stuff. And it allows you to focus within. Like when you're driving a car, you can understand your own car rather than looking around and seeing like, oh, I'm about to crash into a cyclist. Like when you go on a long drive and you got zero people on the road, you're just chilling and you're just cruising, and it's so much more relaxing than just having people everywhere and all that type of stuff. I just think that it's like a lot of life is big distractions. Like we're distracted a lot in this life. And when you can have like zero distractions, you kind of like optimize to just like do what matters in a certain way.
Yeah, I see this as well. And when we get busy in our life, we trick ourselves that doing nothing is wasting time.
Yeah.
So as a high achiever, it's so hard to switch off because you feel guilty for switching off because there's so much to do. But the irony in that is when we actually switch off and have zero distractions, we can actually think about what the best things to do for us are, because we're developing so much as people, but we're not slowing down to notice what's changing or who we are. And then we need to know that information so we can actually steer the ship in the right way, the soul-led version of us.
Yep.
But if we never slow down, we're never able to shift gears and able to understand what that is. And I think it's like this mind-wandering state that you get in when you don't have anything else to do.
I got a crazy analogy. I heard this analogy about this. It's like, I'm going to probably butcher it a little bit, but I heard this analogy. It's about these two boys that work together. They work like a corporate gig, and the company went under, so they're like forced to like, oh shit, we need to go pay our bills. So they go work in the peanut factory and they're peeling peanuts. And they're like, bro, what are we doing with ourselves? We're peeling peanuts all day. But the peeling of the peanuts was the best thing for them because they worked together and they were forced to peel peanuts and do absolutely nothing except speak all day about what they wanted to do in their life together and how to build their dream life. And without them having that activity to do absolutely nothing where they peel peanuts, they would have never developed like this crazy business or model, whatever it was, because they would have been so hyper-focused in a different environment that they would have never got to that dream or whatever it was when they started. And they're like, nah, we need to get out of this peanut factory. They cultivated this culture and they created a business together. And then that allowed them to actually pursue what they love in this world.
Yeah, it's crazy how so much, myself included, we expect to have these new creative thoughts and a deeper understanding on who we are, but we're not freeing up any space in our mind to actually let that come in. And we need to drop a lot of the things that we're doing to free up space in our mind to be able to invite this new understanding of ourselves in.
Yep.
And this is where the doing nothing comes into play. So Oprah Winfrey, one of the most fucking wealthiest women in the world.
Yep.
She spends the start of her day every single day doing nothing. No pen, no paper, no journaling, no reading, no writing, nothing. Sitting, doing nothing. And she's like, I might spend 5 minutes, I might spend 30, whatever I need. But she spends it there doing nothing and having no worries just to see where her mind will go, just to think, see how she's feeling, check in with herself, having that time with absolutely zero distractions. Because people might go, I'm going to spend some time alone, but they've still got a pen, a paper, they have something to read. It's still distractions. We're filled with distractions.
Yep.
And this is why I think these Vipassana retreats and the silent retreats and stuff are so powerful for so many people, because for once in their life, they actually get a time where they can think freely with no other distractions. Do you feel like for you, when you're going on these like missions and exploration things alone, they're the times where you have your deepest thoughts? Is it when you're away from society, or where are you having your deepest thoughts, would you say?
I get deepest thoughts when I'm away from society, 100%. But what we've done is we've been immersed in so many different cultures and like traveling and stuff that you're like, you look at like this culture and you're like, what makes this like culture happy? Like we did this one video, we went to this like tribe in the middle of the jungle in like Sumatra, and these guys are like isolated, like pretty much they got no like Wi-Fi, no phones, no electricity, nothing. And they literally just like live out there. And obviously like there's some people that kind of in like a, not modern society, it's like anyone that knows like a small little village, and they bring like some like food in and stuff. But these guys actually choose to live this like survivalist mentality, like nomad kind of like in the jungle by themselves. And the craziest thing is I love observing these people, because I'm like, why do these people choose to live this way? Like they can just go to the village and have like this different life where everything's taken care of like for them and they don't even have to worry. But it's like what you realize is like what actually matters in this world is just like your friends and the people that you have around you. And that's what makes them happy. They have such a strong like community like aspect in their life, because that's all they have. They wake up, they're with their friends, they go hiking, they go hunting, whatever it may be. They come home, they have dinner with their family, they talk, they're connected to nature, people, humanity, how we used to be. There's no distractions. And I think it's crazy, this concept, like how many of us live right near our parents or like our friends, But yet we like don't even hang out with them that much because we know we can hang out with them whenever we want. They're like, oh yeah, they're just up the road. But the thing is, they're not going to be up the road forever. We're all going to like somehow like die or like, I don't want to go down that dark route. But it's like, just because it's convenient doesn't mean that you don't do it in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And hindsight's a crazy thing where we always look back at things
Yep.
and in potential regrets.
Like, why didn't I hang out with them more? Like, or like, I wish I got to like hang out with like whatever it may be, your parent more or whatever it was. Like, they were just up the road. It's so easy. And I think when life becomes easy, you don't value it anymore. So it's like, you think about if you live away from your parents and then you see them, say like after 6 months, you really value that. You're like, oh, I haven't seen you for a while. Like, it's good to see you. Yet you could like see your parents 3 times in 6 months and they live up the road, but yet you don't value it because they're like there all the time. It's easy to see them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess you have to be self-aware enough to understand that. And it goes both ways. You need to be self-aware enough to understand the things that are valuable in your life and how you should cherish them regardless on if you're further away from it or you have access to it. You should cherish it because it's not going to be there forever. But we also need to be self-aware enough to know when things aren't serving us and we're choosing to serve them regularly as well, because that goes both ways. You've got the people and the things and the places that really serve you, like the beach, for example. I catch myself, I love the beach. There's this calmingness about waves crashing. I love swimming in the ocean and I live right by the beach and I don't have a swim in the ocean in my morning routine. Do you think when I move away and I move to Texas in June this year and I'm not going to have any beach, I'm going to miss going for a swim down on the beach every morning? It's like, no, like, of course I'm going to, but I trick in my head that I've got more important, busy things to do, that I'm productive in the morning, so I shouldn't go and do that. I should work. And it does make me think that hindsight is a beautiful thing. We look back at the decisions that we've made and we then go, oh, maybe I should have done that or I should have done this. But I guess at the end of the day, though, as well, is that self-awareness piece is the most important stuff, to know why you're doing something in the first place, so that then when you're looking back at your life, you're not living in regret because you're going, it felt like the right thing to do in that very moment. You're not just mindlessly going through life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the craziest concept because exactly what you said, like sometimes something can be right in front of you and you don't realize how beautiful it is until it's gone.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to tell myself this on my adventures. I will be in the most stunning place, Maldives, watching a sunset over the water, Western Australia, on an island all by myself, eating a giant crayfish on the beach. And I always say on my videos, sometimes you don't understand the value of a moment until it's gone. And that's why we like when we come back from holidays, we're like, bro, that was actually psycho what we did out there. Like at the time, it just seemed like normal because your reality is like, oh, this is our new normal. Your reality becomes like, we're living in it, so this is our new normal. But it's not like that. It's like, yeah, we're eating a giant crayfish on the beach over a fire, watching a sunset over the horizon with just me and my mate. And it's like, whoa. But in the moment, it just feels like, oh yeah, this is just normal for us.
Yeah. Let's go back to before you blew up on YouTube and how you were kind of in this hustle state where there was a turning point for you where you wanted to just go, no, we need to make change. We needed to go do this. And talking about where you were in your life then, and then I want to talk a little bit about this story because it's so fascinating to see how much things have changed and how quickly your life can change.
Yeah. So pretty much I was at uni at the time and I was studying and I grew up like on one of the best beaches in the world. I would just surf, fish, dive every single morning before school. So like being in the ocean was like in my blood. I've just been a waterman since like birth pretty much. And I just love the ocean. So I pretty much got given a GoPro. I started running this GoPro and I remember I got like a crazy sunset like barrel. Like I used to surf with the GoPros and put them in my mouth and like get barreled with them and stuff like that. And then GoPro like was like, oh, like we love this clip. Can we like use it and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, of course. And they're like, oh, here's $500. And I was like, bro, what the hell? I just made $500 like doing like surfing with this GoPro. That's sick. So I kind of got like a little bit of a taster of it. And I saw like there was like a lot of like at the time YouTube was like kind of newish, you know what I mean? And like there was a few creators that were kind of like living this lifestyle that I was like, oh, this is sick. Like I used to watch like mainstream guys too, like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and then also people in like my niche and stuff like that. And I was like, how are they like doing this? Like, and then I realized like, I've always just been like super curious, and I was like, bro, they're doing like YouTube. Like that's how they're like making, there must be like money in this. You know what I mean? So like, I was like, knew I wanted to do YouTube, but I was way too insecure. Like I grew up on the Gold Coast. I knew like a lot of people on the Gold Coast because I just grew up there, and I cared way too much about like what people were going to think about me, like putting myself out there. And I'm like a super energetic, passionate person. So I'm like, what are these guys going to think about me when I'm just screaming at the camera? I'm like frothing out way too hard and stuff like that. And then I like kind of had like, it almost like stunted me for like, I'm not even kidding, like a year or two, where I just had to get to the point where I was like, I do not care. So I got to the point where I was like, I don't care, but I needed to like, I wanted to get to like an environment where I could really like shine. And like, I felt like I had to move away from the current place that I was in to escape that environment, to like, just like be a new version of myself type thing, and like, and just not care. So I moved over to Western Australia at the time, and I pretty much got over there, and I was like living in this house. And at the time I was living with a girl, and then another guy, and like two guys and my like girlfriend at the time. And at the time I was like all right, uni was finishing up. I was like, I need to like go hard at this YouTube game. Like this is what I'm over here for. Uni's finishing up, I'm going all in. And at the time I just like started grinding. And for the first time ever, my goals, I remember before that were like, I want to get X amount of subscribers. But I remember I changed my goals to like, nah, I'm not going to worry about the subscribers. I'm just going to worry about the things I can control. And I still love this concept of like, I'm going to upload X amount per, like I wanted to upload a long form video per day, and I wanted to upload like a short every single day. And we would take like chop downs of that long form video, but I would just learn every single day. And that was when I became like obsessed. I would wake up in the morning, and in the morning, first thing I would do was like edit a short. Then after that, I would just like study for like 2-3 hours, like YouTube content. And like, I was just obsessive. So this probably kind of happened for like 3 months, and like my views were like terrible. I was getting like 17 views. Like,
you're doing a long form one a week or
one a week? One a week. And it was like terrible because no one's good when they first start, but you kind of just have to accept the concept that you're shit at the beginning, and you just have to embrace that. You know what I mean? And at the time I was like, I was learning, dude. I was developing, but the process of me actually doing the bad videos was actually making me better because I was just improving the bad videos. You know what I mean? And at the time, I actually broke up with my girlfriend, and like I just finished my law degree, and I was getting like no views. And at the time, I literally had like $0, right? Like at that moment in time, I literally became like, I wasn't homeless, but I was like living in a caravan, like had holes in it and stuff like that. And that pain that I felt of like, I literally have nothing in this world except for this dream of me just being like a YouTuber and just going all in on this, was like the only thing I had. And I was just obsessive. And that's all I cared about. I was like, even though I think I had like 3,000 subs or something like that, it felt like I like almost tricked my brain to think that I had like 3 million. And I was like, I got to do this for my community. I got to do this for my crew. And like, I just started, that was when I really became like vulnerable in front of a camera, and people loved it. Like I talked about like, you know, like my life and where I live and the girl I was with and like all this type of stuff. And people like could see themselves, I think, in me, and they could feel the suffering. And I still get messages from those older videos of like, bro, you really helped me through this time period. Like, I know exactly how you're feeling, blah, blah, blah. Like, I appreciate that. But I just like dialed in, and I just went like all in. And the thing about it was like, it was just the process of learning. Now, after that, I was living in this small town, and it wasn't really that like good to live in that town because I would always like see my ex-girlfriend around the town, and it wasn't helpful. And the town's not really like where I lived in. It wasn't like the most innovative town. Like a lot of people just like drink piss and fish, which is like cool, but it's like not really like what I love to do all the time. You know what I mean? I love to do it like every now and again. So I was like, I got to move back to the Gold Coast. So I moved back to the Gold Coast quickly, and I'm like, I'm going to go to Indonesia. And when I came back, dude, that like 7 months of me just like being homeless, grinding, obsessing, like all that content just went through the roof, dude.
In Indonesia or in the Gold Coast?
In the Gold Coast. I was with my mate. We cheersed at 25K. The next week, I had like 100K. The next week after that, I had like 220. The next week after that, I had like 340. So I got to that point, went over to Indonesia, did like 6 months in Indo by myself, where I was just like, I was still living like I was homeless, dude. Like, and I was like making pretty good money at this point, and I was still living like I was homeless, and I was just like learning, like obsessing, like it was sick. I was just living. And then I actually called up one of my mates that I lived in that original home with in Western Australia and was like, bro, come like work with me, man. And he was like, of course, dude. So he was like a creative, and he's like been massive for my growth and stuff like that. He came out and like lived in Indonesia with me, traveled for a year, and we kind of like traveled around together. And dude, the thing about it is like I pick and choose exactly who I want to come work and live with me, and they have to suit a certain culture, and they're killers, bro. Like they're killers to this day. Like I will say, like they're some of the most like highly motivated, talented people I know, because that's the environment that we cultivate. You know what I mean? It's like we train hard, we're confident, we do what we do, and that's just like what I expect from my crew. You know what I mean? Like I don't force them to do something that they're not, but I want them to be the best version of themselves. And that's something that I pride myself in and that I really love to see in people, is like bringing that best version out of themselves. Anyway, fast forward it, we made some bangers together, and then pretty much just like, yeah, from there, dude, everything just grew and grew and grew. But at the same time, dude, I think like right now, we're just on like a tear, bro. Like I've never felt so much momentum in my life from God in this current moment, like right now where we are in our life. It's crazy, bro. I think like we're just starting, dude. Like I just feel like we're starting.
You just said momentum from God. What does that mean?
I think, so you get momentum. For me, it's like momentum starts like every single, like your days affect your weeks affect your months affects your years affects your decades. You know what I mean? So every single day I start with like, manifesting like positive self-talk. Like I know a lot of people think it's blah, 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 but it's, I actually 100% believe in all this stuff. And I think it's so good. But I think also we get visions in our life of like people, you ask someone like, why do you want to do something? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I need to do it. And I believe like those feelings come from God. And I feel like God has pushed me on a path, and he knows where he's like wants to take me. And I have this clear vision of where I want to go with everything. And like right now, I feel like the momentum of everything is crazy. And the concept of like not coming from anything and now like having things to like we have infrastructure, we have money, I have great people around me. People want to hang out with me. Killers want to like learn from me because I have now something that I can provide in exchange for their time. You know what I mean? They don't want to just hang out with some homeless guy that lives in a caravan, because it's like, well, what do I learn from this guy? So it's like life becomes so much easier, yet the challenges become harder. Like it's just a wild concept of like, yeah, like
life becomes easier, but the challenges become harder.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't become easier, then the challenges just become harder. Because if it was easier, then there wouldn't be the challenges there presented to you.
Alex Hormozi's got a good analogy on this. He's like, when you start a business, it's like fighting a bear with a stick. But when you like develop, you're now fighting a dragon. So it's not a bear anymore, it's a dragon. But now you have empires. Now you got like atomic bombs, all this type of stuff. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. So it's just like the challenge doesn't go away, especially in the pursuit of achieving something great.
Yeah.
Because I guess if the greatness is the goal and it was easy, then it wouldn't be greatness, because everyone would have it. Nothing would be valuable.
Exactly.
And so inviting in the challenge. I want to just go back to when you moved back to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
You said you cheersed on 25,000 subs.
Yeah.
Were you making money and were you doing that full time with the 25,000 subs?
Dude, I was doing it full time when I moved to WA.
Yeah.
So I was living off, at the time I had like 40K on Insta or something like that. So I would do like a brand deal every now and again just to pay for like doing whatever I could just to get like enough money.
I love this concept. So you weren't making money, but you were still doing it full time.
And I was, and I was like, back to the law stuff. I was like, if I could apply the exact same work ethic to law, something I hate, to something I love, which is now YouTube, and something I'm obsessive with, imagine what's possible.
Dude, oh my God. I think people are going to listen to this and they don't actually understand the unlock this has, because I can't agree with this more. Imagine doing something on the side and expecting to get the same results as the people you're trying to become, which are doing it full time. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. It's wanting a lie. Like literally, if you want to achieve those results, you got to expect to be doing it at the level of them.
Yeah.
And so it's talking about this be to have concept is if you want to be that person that's doing it full time, that's living the life, you have to try and make it out to be able to do the output that they're doing, or at least the quality that they're doing, which a lot of the time you need to, unless you have resources, you need to do it full time. But when you're starting out, you don't have any resources. So the only thing you have is your time. So you need to put all of it into that. Don't expect some world-class results when it's your side gig.
Yeah.
I think if you truly want something, figure out a way to do it, and only that, so you can actually get results from it. Because I feel like their output doesn't reflect the goals that they have. They have these big goals, but then their actions and the way that they like kind of fuel those goals is completely different.
Yeah.
Like you want the six pack, but you also want the Big Mac.
Exactly.
It's like you can't have both, mate.
Yeah.
Like
you
choose.
can't. Yeah.
And I think it's the same with your goals and with your dreams. If there's something that you truly want to do, you need to get after that thing. Stop just thinking about doing it and spending 2 hours a week working on it. Like fucking lean in.
You can make your life so painful that you'll work your ass off, bro. Like if your life's so painful where you don't even know if you're going to have food on your table. Like some weeks I remember like I had ideas to do videos. I didn't even have enough money to put in my car, dude. I remember pulling up at fuel stations. I had $4 in my account, and I think minimum fill up was like $5. I had like $0. So like you just find ways to like the motivation from the pain is so potent.
So what I'm sensing here though is your pain's self-inflicted to the point where like it wasn't involuntary pain where to the point of like, oh, you've been presented all this pain. You put yourself
I put myself
in
on
the pain.
Like my parents, I tell my parents this story and my mum like almost cries when I tell her. She's like, why didn't you tell me like you were at that point? But I knew that pain that I was going through was craziest motivation for me to like get after it. I knew that like if I could live in that pain, nothing's going to stop me waking up in the morning at 5 a.m. and just dialing in. You know what I mean? Because
that's the point there. It's the motivation is one thing, but what it actually does is it increases your pain tolerance.
Yeah.
So you're not fazed by as many things. You're willing to take more risks because you've already been in a worse spot. You get put in a position when you self-inflict so much pain or hardship, your low level is so low that things don't faze you as much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're more willing to risk things. You're more willing to go through more pain because you've already been through some.
Yeah.
And then the willingness, and I can't remember who says this, but the winners are the ones that are willing to bear the pain. They beat the pain.
Yep.
Like they're willing to push past the point of failure where everyone wants to drop off.
Yep.
And the only way you can kind of have this willingness to push through that pain is by going through something worse than what you're about to push through.
Yep, 100%. There's a few ways you can dissect this too, because some people are going to say, well, I keep experiencing pain, but it doesn't change. And I'll say it's like this. It's like bake. If you want to bake the best cake in the world, right? You got to show up to that kitchen every single morning and bake a cake. But if you just keep baking it with the same ingredients, it's not going to change. You got to mix up the ingredients. All right, like I'm going to take some inspo from this ingredient. I'm going to put this one in here. So the process of you doing it and the process of you constantly evolving it and trying to make it better is what actually forms the best cake, not either or. You can either change up the ingredients, but you only show up to the bakery one day a week, so you don't actually have like enough data to look at like the cake. Or you could do the vice versa where you show up every day, but you keep making the cake the same, that it's like, dude, this cake's the exact same now. Like it can only grow and evolve so much. You need both of those together.
Yeah, I love this. It's that great quote from Alex Hormozy. He says, heroes and villains both have the same backstory, pain. He says, the hero says, the world hurt me. I'm not going to let it hurt anyone else. And then the villain says, the world hurt me. I'm going to hurt everyone else.
Yeah.
So heroes use pain. Villains are used by it.
Yeah.
So when you're presented with the challenge, you can use that pain as fuel to slingshot you forward and better your life and the lives around you. Or you can dwell in it and be a victim and go, okay, I'm presented by pain, but it's not my fault. So I'm going to keep doing my thing and realize it and manufacture a story in my mind that everyone else is the problem but me. And then what happens is you go and cook another cake in your example, and you cook it the exact same way as you just did it. And then it comes out the oven and it's not very yummy. And then you go, fuck, the fucking oven was too hot. But it's like, no, you put the wrong ingredients in the cake. You didn't learn from the last mistake. You were a victim and you blamed the cake for being bad, not the way that you made it.
Yep.
And I think we all get presented with pain in our life. Everyone does. Some are more extreme, some self-inflicted, some gets put on us. Regardless, we're presented with the pain. It's up to us how we use that pain to slingshot us forward or to sit down and dwell in it. And the great thing about that is we get to choose. And it's up to us to be able to use that as fuel. And I honestly think pain's the biggest privilege. Pain's the biggest lesson that we can go through. It allows us to live a more pain-free life because we're fazed by less. And that's the exciting thing about it too, is because it's like you don't like being in it in the moment, but let me tell you, is it makes your life so much better. It's the most life-changing thing.
Of course, dude. It's the best. But I also think that there is like a time limit on pain too for motivation. At some moment in time, you need to switch up that pain to love. Like the pain will only run for so long, and I think it's self-destroying eventually.
What do you mean?
Okay, so for me, I got a fire. Imagine my life as like fire, my motivation. So like throwing haters in the fire, like as fuel, like single thing I hate or whatever it may be, like rejection, whatever it is in the fire. At some moment in time, that's going to like consume me. You know what I mean? It's like when someone says something negative to you, that energy kind of becomes you a little bit. You know what I mean? But if you can come from a place of love, of like, no, these people genuinely love like what I do and I want to serve and I want to make the world a better place, you can do that forever.
So what's the action look like what's not the action? What's the mentality look like to actually be able to live in that way? Because like the first example is I'm using these other people and this other hate.
So I believe that's potent fuel. It's so potent.
It can only get you so far though.
Yeah, it will only get you so far. I think like, I think it's like it comes and goes depending on how potent it actually is. And I think it's good because it'll get you somewhere really quick, I think. Where you're like, I need to prove this person wrong. And a lot of successful people are like, I need to prove people wrong. Like, doubt me.
Chip on their shoulder. Like they want it.
Doubt me. I dare ya. Where a lot of people like killers also have this like service mentality. Like I want to serve people. And, I think like that mentality is like really sustainable, like the serving rather than the, I need to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Because you'll get to a point where you feel like you proved someone wrong and you're just like, I just don't care anymore. They're just going to be there forever. Screw them.
The great quote, if you spend all your time chasing butterflies, they're just going to fly away. But if you spend your time building a beautiful garden, then the butterflies will come to you. I think when we look at those little moments in our life where there's things that are fueling us externally and we're using them to kind of level up ourselves and get back at them and do all of these things, it can only get you so far. It's not going to attract the butterflies towards you. All of the abundance in relationships, in career, in health, all of the things that you want, they're not going to come to you. But if you just look within and focus on you and build this garden.
It deviates you from your path too. Think about Adam and Eve in the garden, right? The negativity came in and led them to the wrong tree. They forgot where their path was. They had a beautiful garden around them. The negativity was like, come to this tree. And they followed that negativity. They followed that snake, right? Why didn't they stop and look around and be like, bro, we've got this whole other massive garden and this beautiful field. Why are we at this one negative tree? It's because they were led by that negativity, bro. It's what happens in life. We can be led by the negativity. If you look at what's beautiful and they looked at the positive, the love, they would have been like, we have this beautiful garden. We don't need this one negative thing.
What you focus on, you will see.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing is about this though is it's kind of it's a gateway. Like the first negativity is a very little thing, and it's a gateway and it leads you down this path. It's not like you get to this extremity straight away. You maybe incorporate one new friend into your life that's a little bit negative, and then you pick up a little trait from that person that, I don't know, shit talks a little bit more than you used to.
Yeah.
And then next minute, like you've just onboarded that little bit as part of you. And now you shit talk a little bit more than you used to. And then that version of you then attracts another person that probably shit talks as well, but then they have another little negative trait. And then you lead down this path again. And then it keeps sharpening the sword into this new version of you that's very negative.
Exactly, dude. That's why you have to pick and choose who you want to hang out with, including women. Exact same thing. Because if you're with a girl that tears you down as a male in a world full of doubt and you're already doubting yourself because everyone else in the world is, how are you ever going to win?
So this is great. I think we go here. This is cool. So
I shouldn't be giving, I'm clearing this up. I shouldn't be giving relationship advice on anything, guys, but I think like I do. There's a few things I'm like,
this is interesting. In a world filled with doubt, we can't be having people in our life that are making us doubt ourselves even more.
Yep.
So there's so many, especially on your path to greatness, you're trying to achieve something that's not easy to get. That's why not many people have it.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, you're going to be riddled with feeling like an imposter because you're going outside your pay grade. You're going to be filled with doubt because there's going to be so many things that are extremely challenging that you're not competent at doing, but you have to figure it out. And what you're saying here is when you have a relationship that and a woman in our context that comes into our life that's questioning what we're doing and not having the belief in us that what we're doing is the right thing, it can make it even harder for us to achieve that thing because they're making us doubt what we're doing.
Yep.
This is fascinating. Is this
hit it on the head?
Is this from personal stories or what? Personal experience?
I just know what it's like to be around someone that's like doubts you. Like I learned this concept a while ago of like, be careful who you share your dreams with. And I love that like saying.
Why so?
When you share your dreams with someone, right, you're opening yourself up to like, this is what I want to achieve. And a lot of people are different. Like they'll speak dreams, but are they actually their dreams? When I speak dreams, I'm like, no, this is happening. Like I don't
you
like
have conviction.
Yeah, I have like, this is happening. Now you don't want people that will be like people that love you, I think will sometimes not question it, but they'll be like, hey, look, just make sure you focus on this or blah, blah, blah. But those who truly love you will back you. And they'll be like, they might not understand the dream. Like my parents, the greatest thing I love about them, they didn't understand how YouTube worked, but they loved me enough to back me. You know what I mean? And that's the same as like a girl or like a friend. It's like my friends don't understand my life. Or they don't understand, like a girl might not understand why I want to build a business or whatever, or how that's going to make money or generate money or whatever it may be. But I hope that they love me enough as a person to be like, hey, I don't understand it, but I love you and I believe in you.
I would say though that sometimes the people that have the most unconditional love for you are they're having your safety at heart, but they're not having your best interests at heart. So most of the time, people that have unconditional love just want you to be safe and do well, and they don't want you to go through any pain. And so when you're trying to do something that's risky, scary, uncertain, they're probably going to make you, not probably, I shouldn't generalize here, but I would say that a lot of them, in my experience, will make me question it a little bit because it's like, you're leaving something that's going so well already, or you're going to be doing all of this. Like, are you sure that's the right move?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Unconditional love can be an interesting thing because they care about you too much at times when you're trying to achieve your goals. Because when you're trying to achieve something that's really fucking hard to achieve, it's not like a thing like it's very hard for them to believe in you as much as you believe in you. So then they doubt it.
Yeah.
Would you say or no?
I think if the person loves you well enough, they'll understand how much it means to you and they should let you go. Like someone that loves you well enough will be like, you know what? That's going to be a cool journey for that guy, but he wants to do it. Like when my friends are like, if they want to hike Mount Everest, I'm going to be like, bro, just be careful. Like I know that's like a dangerous, a lot of people die doing that. But if I know how much it means to them to hike that mountain, I'm going to back them.
I don't reckon you would say, I know how many people die doing that. You'd be like, oh, fuck, what are you doing to train? What are you getting ready?
Of course. But as a friend, I'm going to be like, dude, like just make sure you have the right safety gear or whatever it may be. But I think like as someone, for me, I already go through my head of like, what are the potential like things that could happen or go wrong in this business or what are so someone that's like already like questioning the doubt in my head, I'm like, bro, shut up, dude.
So
like
you've got so much certainty and conviction in what you're doing that you're telling them, but you don't really care what they say back.
No, but I'm telling them because I love them and I'm like, look, I want you to know I'm on this path and this is maybe why might not be around or whatever it may be, or like this is what I'm like dreaming of, you know what I mean? And at the same time, it's like, it's a nice thing to share with the people you love the most, your path and journey. Like imagine if I didn't tell my parents that I was going to be a YouTuber until I had like 1 million subs, you know what I mean? They would have never seen the whole come up story and the beauty's in the journey.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to relationships and dating and in our context, having a girlfriend in our life, I think it is vital that they understand the journey that you're on and understand it so clearly that they can respect that and what you're on. Because again, in a world filled with doubt, we don't need more doubt in our life. And especially when it's like your person that you're going through life with, they need to respect and understand that what you're trying to achieve is not a normal thing. And you're not a normal guy. Mm-hmm. Like you're not living a normal life. And I think they need to be able to respect that and help support wherever they can, not make it harder for you to achieve that.
Yeah. I think recently I'm still toying on this concept, so I'm not going to speak in definites. I never like to speak in definites for anything because I'm still evolving and learning. But I think for me recently, I've had to really think about my life. And one thing about having a girl, which is the most beautiful thing about women, is how comforting they are. Like they're so beautiful. They're like the pinnacle of like life, like in terms of beauty and stuff. And they're so comforting. But a lot of the time progression comes in discomfort. And one thing that I've had to really like learn is I think my dreams come well before a woman. And the reason I say that is because if the girl wants the best version of me, they need to let me chase my dreams. If they want me to sleep in on a Monday morning where I know what's best for me is to wake up and run and be in that ocean because that's what makes me feel the best version of myself, I must go do that because she's going to get the best version of me and not the sad version of me that's sleeping in, that's giving her cuddles.
Yep, I can't agree more. But I think if the dreams is what's going to fulfill you, then living a life that's not fulfilling your potential is not a good version of you. And here's the thing. This is the thing. People might come back to this and go, no, you need to prioritize your relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro's going to stutter 500 times before him. Go in on it.
No. So here's the thing about this.
This is so good.
Is that if you're saying to me that you need to be the priority over my dreams, what attracted you we're sitting on this date together.
Yeah.
What attracted you to me in the first place? Oh, you're so driven. I love how focused you've been. I love how calm you are. And I love how passionate you are about the things you're doing. Okay, so you're attracted in me because of all the things I've developed by chasing my dreams. Now we're together and you're going to tell me that I've got to put you in front of the very thing that made you want to sit in front of me on this table in the first place.
Exactly.
It's like I honestly think it's not about disregarding the partner and the relationship. In fact, if there was no women in this world, I probably wouldn't even be as driven. I would be nowhere near as driven as I am right now. I think women are a massive driver for a straight man
Oh,
because
one of the best.
because if there was no women, I probably wouldn't be trying to strive so much to make all of this money and be able to, so then I could attract my dream mother and then build a family and all of this stuff. If there was no women at the port of a life, they're the way that we can reproduce and keep the family going and have more life in our life. If there was no women, I'd probably just sleep on the beach and surf and get a tan. And that was,
I think girls, I think a majority of girls would actually, if they think deep down, would actually want their men to leave in the morning at 5 a.m.
They do.
They do. They don't want that. Like, they think they want the cuddles. They definitely want the cuddles. But for their future self wants that man to leave and go get after it. And then once he's done what he needs to do, he can come home and have that beautiful, comforting environment. But when the time comes, he needs to be a killer, bro. He needs to go off.
It's just depending on the life that they want to live as well. Because and I say the life that they want to live, because if you want to live a normal life, like I'm probably not the man for you. Like I really am not.
Sure, yeah.
Like I want an extraordinary life that's filled with amazing fruits. And to be honest, I think it's not about the money, because after you make like 10, $20 million, your life doesn't really change. Like if you make 20 million bucks, like you can kind of do everything minus buy the jets, and like you're pretty sorted. And so once I hit that level, it's not like I'm going to be working at all just to make the money. It's to fulfill the life and chase my passion and let my passion lead the way. And I think that needs to be the emphasis on life. And I think the caveat to this is, yeah, you can kind of chase all of your dreams and work so hard, but if you have no one to share it with, then what's the fucking point?
Exactly.
And so we need, like, I think connection and relationships is the most important thing in our life, without a doubt. However, I think to make that flourish and build the best version of those relationships and connection, you need to be full within yourself. And if what fills you up is this thing that excites you, that springs you out of bed in the morning, I think you've got to chase that. And that's got to be the priority. Have you struggled with relationships since you've been such in like a hustle mode, or have you find it be pretty easy to navigate?
Oh, dude, I literally haven't even been in relationships. I've just been so dialed in to like.
For how long?
3 years, something like that. Yeah, 3 years now. I like barely been on a date. I've been on a few, but I think it's just you need to be in that mindset where like I grew up with sisters, and I'm not the guy that's like a half in, like half out type guy. I don't like wasting people's time and stuff. So I want to make sure that like if I'm like hanging out with someone or whatever it may be, like I actually care for that person. And I think guys have a duty. Like this is gonna go crazy, but I think guys have a duty to explain to a woman like what they want. Girls are very like they're more emotional by nature, at least what I find with my sister and my mum and all that type of stuff. So it's important to explain to them like exactly how you feel or like what you want. You know what I mean? Because it's sad to see girls like fall for a guy and the whole time the guy just wanted like casual stuff. You know what I mean, or whatever it may be. And I don't want that. So I think for me, it just comes down to like, what am I ready for in that time period in my life? And it's like the whole saying, like, if you want to go somewhere quick, go alone. And that's how I felt. I just felt like I didn't want anyone around me. I just wanted to go alone. Me and my team, bang, we're going somewhere quick. Let's go. But if you want to go somewhere far, go with someone. And I think that like, yeah, you have to be at that point where you're like, okay, like we've got something established right now. Like we can go somewhere far. You know what I mean? And I think it also depends on the exact girl. Every relationship dynamic's different. You know what I mean? Some people like work with their partners and find it to be amazing. Some refuse to work with their partners because they don't want them to be part of that world or whatever it may be. There's so many different ways to go about it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about relationships is I think it's a case of sharpening the sword on what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can study that. I think you need to live that.
I realized this recently, like what you think about a girl is completely different to how you are with them. Like you think a girl's like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like this girl because she's blah, blah, blah. But then you hang out with her and it's like, can be the best trait because it like, for example, like a girl that's soft-spoken, I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I can hang out with her because I'm pretty like loud and out there. But then you hang out with them and they calm you down and it's like, oh, that's so beautiful.
So good.
Yeah.
But then you think, oh, I've sorted it. I just need to find someone that's soft-spoken, X, Y, and Z. And then you meet someone like that. And then you realize, okay, they had that, but there's something else about them that I actually struggle to deal with. Okay, we need that. So we sharpen the sword a bit again. All right, now the next person is, all right, I really want someone that's got this and got this. I'm not looking for some perfect person, but I really value these things. And I think these are must-haves. And if we're high-achieving men, reality is we do have a level of options. We're not in like a scarce thing where there's no women attracted to us.
Speak for yourself, brother. I'm kidding.
No, but like I just think there's so many statistics about it all now about how like,
it's like a key, dude. Like you don't know until you like do it, and it's a weird concept because it's like usually like for us, like we're forecasting like, is this going to work? You know what I mean? Like for me, like, is this going to work? Blah, blah, blah. Based on this data, this is not going to work. This may work, blah, blah, blah. There's no data with girls. It's
emotion, right?
It's just like, see if it's like a good fit, if you guys vibe or not. And like, the thing about it is like humans, bro, it's like we all got beautiful traits that we love about each other. And it's just about whether those beautiful traits complement your life and you guys are on the same journey. And like that whole saying, like if someone loves you for who you are right now and who you want to be, they say like marry the girl. So that's a crazy concept too. I've never been there, but.
But in that saying, it's only that side. If they love you and they love who you're going to become, it's like, it's cool, but like what about you as well? Do you love them and what they're wanting to become? And
exactly.
Everything?
Well, that's one thing about. I want to speak for all the guys here. All the guys are gonna love me for this one. I swear, every guy just wants a girl that does something. Like I just love it. Like it's the most beautiful thing when I see a girl that like just has a hobby. I don't care what it is. Like just if it's like
passion.
Like if you are into collecting postage stamps, run with it. I love it. like if you play chess and that's like your passion, like do it. Because like what it shows us is like you do something and there's like more to your life than just like hanging out with us or whatever it may be. Like you actually have something that's like you're involved in. I find this common with like every guy that I speak to.
There's excitement in their thing. Here's my thoughts around this. Can't agree more. You said collect postcards. I said I don't care if you plait Barbie ponytails on Barbie dolls. Do not care. Like I think when money is not a problem in a relationship, I don't want my partner working unless she wants to work. I don't want her working unless she wants to work. Now, the reason for this is because if you feel the need to go and work to make money and then you come home and you're complaining about your day when we don't need you to make money because we're sorted.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be complaining about the day. If we've got 4 hours to spend in the afternoon and I ask you, how was your day today, babe? I want your eyes to light up with excitement with whatever the fuck it was. I collected 4 postcards today.
And that's energy too. It's so good.
It's the calm, it's the harmony, it's the peace and love that a man that's got a busy life that's chasing his dreams needs when he's trying to wind down.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to work, fucking do it and you're passionate about it, go and make your millions. I just need you to be passionate and excited about that thing because I don't want you getting back and complaining about the life that you're doing because I've said to you, you don't need to work unless you want to.
Yeah.
And so I think there's this element of passion and excitement towards whatever they are doing throughout the day. This is why I heavily encourage hot girl walks. I would love my partner to go on a hot girl walk with her friends every day.
Of course,
she gets this feminine energy. They get to talk their shit and then they get to have a bit of excitement about their day. Whatever you can do that's going to make you excited.
You carry on, sorry.
I don't think a girl needs to go through challenge, pain, and hardship to be an amazing girl. And so I think she can fill her days with passion-filled things and still be amazing.
It's this whole mentality where it's like, when you're each your own burning flame and you come together, you create a furnace. You don't need to come together to create one flame. So when a guy sees a girl that's like already her own flame, he's like, oh, like, you know what I mean? And then a girl sees a guy that's his own flame and they're like we'd be crazy together. You know what I mean? Rather than just like, we have to be together to create happiness. And then it's like, when you're apart from each other, you just crave each other, but then you're actually like the worst version of yourself when you're not with them.
Yeah. But then I guess the worst version of yourself is an interesting one, because if that implies that you're not full within yourself without them.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So that's when you break up with them, or if you do, you lose your complete identity. You're like,
and that's
who am I? Like my identity is with this person.
Yeah. And I think that's a problem. And so I think if two people can be full within themselves and then they join, it's like they can still separate and they're still full within themselves. But whereas if they're together and they're like this table that's merged and one leaves, two legs of the table's just fallen off. So not only does the table break, but everything on top of it comes crumbling down as well. Oh, yeah. And so being able to kind of be full within yourself. But then again, at the same time, it's like, if you're doing something seriously, like all your plans of the future are together, all the hopes you had and all the things you wanted to do. Like when you break up, you're not really grieving the past. You're grieving what could have happened. Like you're grieving the future plans that you had. You're not grieving as much of the experience that you've already had. You're grieving the future, right? Because it's not there anymore.
Yeah. The future is scary. That's what scares people. But the thing is, the future planning only comes from like, instead of you planning by yourself, you're planning with that person. So now you just got to go back to like, what am I planning for myself? So that I don't know. I haven't been on this like journey and been in a relationship. So I'm like an evolved version of myself, I think, but I have yet to put it to the test and really experiment with all this stuff. But I wonder if in like a killer mentality, whether it's good to forecast like plans with a partner and then as an individual also. So you have like your individual, like this is what I want as an individual and this is what we want as like a partnership.
I think if we're playing this game seriously and when we meet someone, we actually see them as like our wife and our future mother to our children, I think you've got to go in on that and be like, this is it. Like, let's actually make some stuff together and make some plans. And if it messes up, fundamentally that relationship has failed because you never went into it hoping for it to break up. So fundamentally it's failed. You go through another failure, then you sharpen the sword and you learn and grow again. But I think you need to treat things just like you are with your going all in on your YouTube channel or your business or whatever. When you're finding a relationship and they're ticking the boxes that are making you go like, this is my person, I think you need to give that the energy it deserves. I think there's like three main pillars in life. You've obviously got your business or career, which essentially is freeing up time. That's all we're doing. It's money's just stored time. And so you have business and career, you have relationships, and you have health. And I think they're all extremely important, but I don't think you can go all in on all of them at once.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like when you're trying to go all in on business, it's very hard to build a brand new relationship in that because you kind of need to give that the attention it deserves. However, I don't think it's acceptable to fully drop the ball on relationships or health while you're going in on your business. I think you need to keep them all at a maintenance, but you also need to recognize that you can't go all in on all of them. And so with all of that said, where I'm getting at with that is I don't think it's healthy to fully cut out trialing relationships, putting yourself out there and meeting people when you're going all in on business. Because I think it's a matter of sharpening the sword and it's a matter of knowing what you want and what you don't want. If you don't put yourself in the arena, you're never going to learn. And so I don't think it's a matter of switching things off. I think it's a matter of just like really getting clear on what you want and sharpening that.
Yeah. I always joke with like some of my mates about this, but it's like this like structured way of life of like a man where it's like the pinnacle is like being with the right girl that unlocks a superpower. Then below that is like being alone because at least you're just like, whatever. Like, so at least it's like a safer option. But then below that is like being with the wrong person. And that's like my grade.
That is the best thing ever. Because how bad is it when you're with someone that's not the one for you?
Yeah.
It's like just okay. It's like, it's
a
good.
Chain and ball, bro.
It's like, it's comfortable. It's still nice.
Yeah.
But it's not it.
Yeah. So it's like you can live in the state of being alone, but then you're not going for like the top tier.
So this is why we don't want to put ourselves out there as much, because we would rather be alone unless they're the top tier.
Yeah.
But because we know the top tier is hard to find.
It's hard to find. So you may like dabble in the bottom tier for a little bit to try find the top tier. So it's a safer bet to just run alone. That was my mentality. That's my grade. That's why I've been alone. But then I think it's like I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I've probably got to try find that top tier. It's worth giving it a shot.
That's so true. What it is then is the women listening to this are going, this is such bro chat.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
we love you girls. They're the best. Yeah.
I would not be doing this podcast if it wasn't for women. I wouldn't be as driven as I am. Anyway, but the thing is about it is it's some of my biggest like billionaire mentors and stuff, like what I notice is the best business people have the ability to see opportunity fast, but also fail really fast. So they can see an opportunity, act on it quick, but then if it's not working, they can fail fast and move out of the business quick. Same with relationships. Don't shy off when you see an opportunity, act on it, see where you can take it. If it's not right, then count your blessings. You've sharpened the sword, you've learned, but get out of that thing. Stop dragging it on.
Yeah.
And like I dragged the last one on for like 6 weeks, like longer than it should have. And like that's 6 weeks of being in something that you've already emotionally checked out of because you don't want to have a hard conversation. Like fail fast. That's just looking at that in hindsight. I am a novice when it comes to relationships because I stayed in that for longer than I should have.
Yeah.
You need to get out and fail fast, just like the best business people do with their businesses. Take the opportunity when you see something, like soak it all in, see what you can make with this. It could be so beautiful and it could be top tier. But if it's not for you, it's not bad about them. It's not like there's anything wrong with them. It's just fundamentally you guys aren't the perfect pea to a pod and be able to move on.
100%, dude. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Like the whole mentality with like that is wild. It's like, like the saying, like everyone knows the saying, like love is blind, right? And it's like, I think when you fall so quick into relationships, the love becomes blind. So you become blind to like, is this actually good and bad for you? So therefore it's hard for you to escape because you're like, why am I in this? Like, you're like, you ignore the red flags. But then when you finish, like the relationship breaks up, you're like, bro, you know deep down, like that was not for, like you didn't like that. If you really ask yourself deep down, you know what I mean? You knew it, but that love was so blind and it was so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like you look at like a mum's love for like their child and stuff. Like it doesn't matter. Like I could rock up home,
unconditional.
Unconditional, and be blind drunk, and they'll still love you and hold your head over a toilet while you vomit or whatever. It's unconditional, and that's what I think. Like I think a lot of people get stuck in that unconditional like love potential relationship, or they're scared to fall into it like quick. And I think it's a weird one. Look, I'm not across it, but try not to fall into that unconditional love relationship super quick and look at it from like I don't know, like, is this good for me? But like, can I like not escape, but like, is this the right thing for me before you get to that point where you're so unconditionally loving?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love I just love how passionate and enthusiastic this chat's been. Like we're like yelling into these mics.
Like, that is so true.
Like we're like, it's like we're trying to like one up each other. It's like you're so loud, then I'm loud. And then what I love about conversation as well is, and I think the best conversationalists, what I think is so great is you can adapt based on the person you're speaking to. So if I'm speaking to a calm, like timid person, I can maybe adapt that so that we can have a conversation in that way. But I feel like when someone's loud and proud.
I'm a foghorn, bro.
Sorry?
I'm a foghorn. I'm a loud foghorn,
But when someone's loud and proud, like that's probably what I do when I'm just not behind this as well. And so I just kind of will just start being loud as well.
Good, bro. At least the neighbors are getting a free podcast right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, this
They're
is
loving it.
extremely soundproof. I don't even think Mikey, the producer out there, can just put his thumbs up on us.
We're just spitting facts about women. He's like, bro, these guys are just like hitting it on the head right now.
I reckon he's listening going, these guys have no idea.
Yeah, these guys got no idea. They're like in their 20s. I already disclosed at the beginning, guys, I got no idea. I'm not like a professional.
Yeah.
But
is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up, man?
I want
Interesting?
to ask you something, bro.
Okay.
And I know, and I've already kind of spoke to you a little bit about this, but I know you interview a lot of people and stuff like that. And I want to know, what do you think, if you could instill in your children 3 different things, what do you think they would be? And this is for life in general. Let's go 3 things for a guy and then 3 things for a girl.
Okay. I think overarchingly for guys and girls, which will fill a place, is to challenge the norm and realize that it's actually not real. These ceilings that we set in our life are not real. Yeah. And so when you go to school and they tell you have to do something, I'm not saying rebel and don't do the thing, but don't just take that as gospel and go, oh, we can't do that thing. Figure out if it actually is a bad thing to do. And
I love this.
And for me, it's like they get mad at you in school for copying someone else's exam, even though it's the right answer. That's teaching you that you've got to be on your own and not collaborate. But I think in the real world, it's not a bad thing to copy and take your own parts from it and make it your own and build something great from it. Or it's not a bad thing to have an easier way that can fast track your success by looking at what someone else is doing. So that's just one example where I'm going, just challenge the norm and don't take no for an answer and don't take what people are saying as gospel. I think this is one thing. And then from that is, now that you've believed that it's not gospel, break the rules a little bit. Like, be a little bit rebellious because you'll break the rule a little bit. I'm not saying be violent or anything, but I'm saying most of the rules aren't really that legit. Break the rule a little bit and realize that everything's all good. Because when you step over that line and nothing happens, not in a rebellious way, but in so many things that we set up with these ceilings in our life, we realize that they're all made up and they're actually not that deep. And then that can allow us to take more risks in our life. It can allow us to kind of have more excitement and more passion. It can allow us to take more risk, go through more failure, sharpen the sword more, and build a way better character that we're so proud of. So I would say that that's probably like one of the biggest things I want to instill in my children. And then I guess the thing is as well, the differences with men and women is I would make sure that my children or my girl kids are really chasing passion. And I think making their decisions based on the premise of what's going to make them happy is what I think. And I think the men need to, and this is from a naive 23-year-old that has no kids, just prefacing. But I think the men, they need to onboard challenge in whatever they do. Yeah. I think that women are born with innate value. Men have to build their own value. They're born with nothing. They have to make something from them.
I want to ask you something. I want to just jump in here 1 second.
Okay.
So we spoke about us as like killers a lot of like, women need to let us go and do. What would you do if you were a girl?
So hard.
And the guy wasn't a killer and didn't want to get up out of bed and go crush?
Well, it depends on what girl you are again. And so this is the other interesting thing. Like, what girl are you and what life do you want? I think if you are values aligned, the relationship will go far. Because if you value simplicity, calm, and secure, but then the guy values adventure, risk, and no stability, then it's going to be very hard for you guys to be aligned.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're the woman that's very adventurous, that wants to kind of go into the unknown and kind of like change and hop around a lot, and that's a big value of yours, and the guy reflects that, then by all means. But I think honestly it comes down to the woman. But what I will say is it's very tough for women, I think their gig is very hard because a man's born and we know that, okay, like we need to make something of ourselves.
Mhm.
We are born with nothing, potentially looks, but women don't see that as a priority. Like you need character, you need security, like all these things to build yourself up as a character. And so it's quite an easy process for men. We can go, well, you just need to work hard and we need to make something of ourselves. Women, on the other hand, it's a lot tougher because it's a bit harder, right, for them. And I don't have the answer for them. But I think they need to go on this journey and end up in a spot where they're the purest, most innocent version of themselves. And that is their peak. I reckon it's like being able to feel like they can truly lean into their feminine and own it and not be looking for the markers of finance and money as a measure of their success. Like being able to lean into their feminine is their best version of themselves. And it's very hard to get to that because there's so many men that weather them and make them not feel like they can be that. So then they have to onboard stuff that maybe the men would do. Very traditional approach. But I think what's very hard for a woman to navigate is they go, okay, well, if I need to be more feminine for these high value men to be attracted to me, then I need to kind of lean into this. But if I don't have a man yet and I still want this life and there's no man to help provide that for me, I need to go and get it myself. And then in the process of doing that, they lean away from. So it's a very hard dance.
Thing, bro.
I feel for women. I think it's like a very hard thing to navigate. If you haven't found a man, it's quite a challenging thing. Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't have the answers. But what I will say is a woman's role is extremely significant, probably more than a man's role in my eyes. It's also very hard. But I also think that like one can't have, like they go hand in hand. You need both. There's no point shitting on either of them. We both provide massive value to the partnership.
Yeah.
But I would say that it is quite challenging. But then also for a man, it's quite challenging growing up now because society is normalizing, and I'm ranting here, but society is normalizing weak men. And so it's normalized for them to be more weak. But the reality is that like, in order for them to build some characteristics and have this masculine side of them, they can't really do the same life that a woman might do. And so then they're struggling with this battle of what's normal, what's acceptable, and what's actually right for me. And it's a hard thing just navigating the whole landscape. Yeah. Don't really know.
It's a weird concept too, because in Australia, I even see this in different parts of the world, because in Australia, everyone's kind of like pretty like what people make is kind of like pretty like similar in a way. Like,
what do you mean make wise?
Like Australia, everyone's comfortable in Australia.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone like kind of makes enough to get by, like pretty comfortable and stuff. So a lot of like, you'll see like a lot of beautiful girls with like, you know, like guys that just do like normal things. Where if you go to like America and stuff like that, like or a lot of other places, you'll see a lot of girls that with like, they're like more so like pursuing like those kind of higher profile things. I don't know if this is different in different states and stuff like that, but I see it a little bit. I don't know about you.
Yeah, but also not every girl wants someone that's got all this stuff because again, the chaos that might come with it might not be a part of their value.
100% true. Didn't even think about that.
And so like there's a place for every level of person.
Yeah, you somehow just assume that every girl wants to live an extraordinary life, but they don't want to deal with like
they don't want to deal.
Probably don't want to deal with all the rubbish.
My life's chaos. Yeah. I don't expect every girl to deal with it.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's true. Yeah,
honestly, I respect that if someone's not like keen on that thing. It's like you've got to be a bit delusional to think that every girl, just because you can look good and make money and have status, that people are going to be attracted to you. It's not the case.
100%.
It's not the case. And so that's not the reality. I think there's a place for everyone, but I think it is challenging for men and women to just navigate what their place is in this world. But I think at the end of the day, whatever you choose, because you're choosing everything in your life, whatever you choose to live and the environment you have, I don't want you complaining about it because you've put yourself there.
Yeah.
So whatever you choose, if you just want to be a tradie or you want to be whatever you want as a man, who cares? But be the best fucking tradie there is
Yeah.
and own it. So when someone asks you what you do, you say it with conviction and pride of what you do. Don't be like, oh, I'm just a tradie. Because then fundamentally you don't like your life.
Yeah.
And so I think it doesn't matter what you do. I just think you need to own what you do and own where you are. And you will attract people because you've got this energy about you that you are where you are supposed to be on this earth. And as soon as you have this hesitation and this lack of pride in what you're doing, that's when you're not doing enough. But if someone wants to like literally homeless and sleep under the bridges on the beach, but when you see them, they're excited about what they're doing, my hat goes off to you.
Yeah, for sure.
I just think you need to have pride and own whatever you are doing in your life and realize that you are the reason you have put yourself there. There's a level of accountability that you need to take for everything in your life.
100%. Yeah. You can pick and choose. Like that's like this. This goes back to like the whole free will. Like we all have free will. Obviously, like with every one of us, we start life at different stages. Whether it's like, you start with a wealthier family or like whatever class you start at. But we all have free will of where we choose and how we want to navigate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have free will to choose like a lot of your things in your life, you need to own it too.
Yeah. And then, I mean, dude, if you don't like something, change it and realize that like you can change it. I mean, look, if you lose your legs and you're in a wheelchair, then maybe you can't get new legs potentially yet. However, you now are legless. Do you sit there and complain about it? Or do you try and make the most of your life without legs?
Yeah, you only got two options.
Yeah.
You either use it as a negative or you use it as a positive. Like there's no other.
Exactly right. Man, I just want to commend you. I feel like there's plenty of people out in the world that show up online in a way that's different to who they truly are.
Yeah.
And you're certainly not one of those. I think you're a spitting image of what you promote online to who you are in person, and being able to spend a bit of time with you, being very blessed to do that. And I just want to commend you with everything you're doing. We didn't even get to talk about we spoke in brief about how quickly things change for your life, but I truly think there's a takeaway from this episode of people to be able to go, if I don't like my life or I want more, I can change it.
Yep.
And not only can I change it, things can change like this so quickly, and you're the reason that it's not changing. And I think what we've got across on this episode, which is super powerful, is there's a level of ownership that you need to take in your life, and you can fucking change your life so quickly. Us both sitting here, things changed very quickly. I was in debt and had no money, and I was like, fuck, well, I may as well give it a go.
Yep.
And then a year later, my whole life changed. It's the same with you.
Well, one of the wealthiest men I know. I appreciate all the kind words and everything, bro. Like, amazing. I appreciate it. I'm just the biggest frother of all time, and I'll never not be that. But one of the wealthiest men I ever met, and someone that really inspired me, said, you got to go through the shit to become the shit. And I live by that too. It's the same thing. You got to go through boys, girls, everything. Got to go through it all to become who you want to be.
I fucking love that. I reckon we wrap that up here. Man, thank you so much, dude.
Legendary.
And I'm going to leave all of Wade's details in the show notes and the description below.
Appreciate
so you
it,
can
bro.
go and check out Wade for yourself. If you want to have some extreme entertainment, go and watch his videos on YouTube.
Come frothed out on some adventures.
They're awesome. And especially with the new pup froth as well in all the vids. So thank you so much. And if you guys have made it to the end of this and you're not sick of us speaking, we've been going for couple hours, ages.
Really? It felt like 10 minutes.
We've been going for ages. But screenshot this, and if you've made it all the way this far, thank you guys so much. Screenshot this and tag us in your Instagram stories just to let us know you've made it to the end of the episode, and we can personally thank you all so much. And then leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to this, because it's crazy how people are listening 2 hours into a podcast, and I mean, you're not sick of our voice, and you're not letting us know that you've enjoyed it by giving us a 5-star review. Yeah. They actually mean a lot more than They really help the show grow. It helps us get awesome guests back on the show, just like Wade. So we're going to sign out for this episode. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Wade.
Appreciate it, brother. Let's go.
We'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.
See you, legends.
Yo!
Let's go.
Dude, let's go.